On Central News tonight, violent assault in Katikati, major roadworks in Putaruru, how to beat the post-holiday blues, and the effect the heat is having on our furry loved ones. Kia ora, welcome back to Central News for 2015. Today is Monday the 19th of January. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Tauranga Police are investigating a serious assault that occurred in Katikati on Friday night. At around midnight, a 23-year-old man was attacked while sitting in his black-coloured Subaru parked on the roadside in Clive Road, Katikati. He was approached by a female and two unknown males and was punched a number of times in the face. He's then been struck with an iron bar which is lodged into the side of the victim's head. The iron bar was later removed by medical staff at Tauranga Hospital. The offender responsible for this assault is described as male, olive complexion, slim build, early 20s with short black spiky hair, and he was wearing a dark green coloured t-shirt. Police want to hear from anyone who was in and around Clive Road, Katikati, at around midnight on Friday night and might have seen this incident, or anyone who knows the identity of the person responsible for this major assault. Major roadwork starts this week on State Highway 1 at the northern end of Putaruru. The New Zealand Transport Agency says its contractor Downer Limited will be rebuilding a stretch of State Highway 1 from Central Street to the bridge 1 kilometre north of town. The work will give motorists a smoother ride and will reduce the need for future maintenance. It will involve digging and the existing uneven surface and replacing it. The Transport Agency says crews will be on site Monday to Friday during daylight hours from January the 19th until the end of March. Two-way traffic flows will be maintained at all times, with work staged to complete the southbound lane, then central, then northbound section. A speed restriction of 30 kilometres an hour will be in place during the works. Waipa residents now have the annual opportunity to recognise the dedication of their local voluntary groups, with entries for the Trustpower Waipa District Community Awards now open. Run in partnership with the Waipa District Council, the awards are open to all voluntary groups and organisations working to make Waipa a better place to live. Anyone can enter a voluntary group or organisation for the Trustpower Waipa District Community Awards. Voluntary groups and organisations can even enter themselves. Ben Cochrane claimed the biggest scalp of his fledgling Ironman career on his home beach as Surf Life Saving's Omanu Day of Champions produced a procession of gripping finishes. Cochrane upset clubmate and New Zealand team star Max Beattie in yesterday's feature Iron Porteous Memorial Ironman, with the 18-year-old out sprinting his older rival in the final few metres. It was obvious Beattie had taught him a little too much. Cochrane's dismount off the final board leg was dripping with experience after catching his front-running clubmate during the ski leg on the distinctive M-shaped Ironman course. The Chiefs Rugby Club will farewell assistant coach Tom Coventry at the end of the 2015 Investec Super Rugby season when he takes up position with London Irish. Chiefs CEO Andrew Flexman says the Chiefs were fully supportive of Tom's desire to progress his coaching career overseas, but were disappointed to be losing the service of a talented coach. Chiefs head coach Dave Rennie believes that the move will be good for Coventry and says it is an unfortunate reality that coaches of Tom's calibre are in high demand overseas. Now for the region's weather. Hamilton, mainly fine with a chance of an odd shower and light winds. Your expected high is 26 and an overnight low of 10. The rest of the Waikato, mainly fine, a possible shower or two, light winds. Paeroa, your expected high is 27 and an overnight low of 13. Matamata, 24 and 12. Te Awamutu, 26 and 10. And Tokoroa, 24 and 10. Tauranga mainly fine with a chance of the odd shower and light winds. Your expected high is 27 and a warm 15 degrees overnight. The rest of the bay mainly fine, isolated afternoon and evening showers and light winds. To Puke, you can expect a high of 25 and an overnight low of 10. Now for our marine weather. West Coast, Raglan, heavy southwest swell easing Tuesday. You have a southwest breeze there as well. High tide is at 10:50 a.m. East Coast, Bay of Plenty, westerly 15 knots, easing Tuesday to a variable 10 knots. High tide is at 7:37 a.m. Just ahead on Central News, how to beat those post-holiday blues. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. With many of us returning back to work today or in the last couple of weeks after a great summer holiday, now is the time that the post-holiday blues can set in. I spoke with the Mental Health Foundation's Tauranga-based promoter to find out how to avoid the blues.
So what are the best ways to avoid the post-holiday blues?
Well, we're suggesting that people consider a few things as they head back into work. The first thing is to consider your work environment and consider making that as harmonious as possible. So that may be range from everything from keeping a tidy workspace to maybe having a few holiday snaps, photos of friends, family, and then other things like getting outside during breaks and making the most of this weather we're having, and considering your colleagues, getting off on a good footing with your colleagues, maybe making a pot of tea and, you know, kind of creating that nice harmonious space for you to work in. And then we're also suggesting that people consider their personal growth, you know, thinking about what really interests you and engaging in those. So this time of year people make a lot of resolutions, and to be fair, that's pretty hard to keep those New Year's resolutions. We tend to set really high goals for ourselves, but it is still a good time to consider our interests and maybe looking at doing something new, learning a new skill, for example. And that kind of leads into the third thing, which is about reviewing your job. And just really questioning, is it still satisfying for you? Is it still kind of getting you up and out of bed in the morning? Are you passionate about what you're doing? And maybe you're not. Maybe it's a matter of really asking those hard questions and thinking about where your interests are and your passions are and looking at new opportunities. But at the very least, you can still talk to your manager and can talk about your needs. Good time of year to do that, and what you want to achieve in your job at this time of year. And then we are suggesting, I think this is the most important thing actually, is to take some time every day just to relax and let go of work and be with yourself. You know, we get so wrapped up in busyness that we forget to take notice of where we are. So just taking 15 minutes a day, maybe going for a walk, reading, doing some yoga, things like that, just to really let go of everything else and remind yourself that this is essentially about life. It's not all about work. The next thing is about being organised when you're at work. So effective time management is really important for stress management, actually. So breaking your day into chunks, considering what you have to do, and then just attending to that. And then at the end of the day, if you don't get everything done that you wanted to get done, don't worry about it. You know, it's probably not that important. Like, sun's still going to rise tomorrow morning, so don't worry. And that's actually another point, is around remembering to foster a wider perspective on things. So that goes back to that taking 15 minutes, you know, maybe, I mean, it might sound a little bit glib, but one thing I like to do is look at the stars when I can at night and just remind myself of something bigger, and getting out into the natural world, which is really important for mental well-being.
So what are some of the signs that we should be looking for that we are suffering?
If you're finding that you're feeling more sadness than normal or prolonged periods of sadness, particularly for if you're around about 2 weeks or over 2 weeks, then that's the time really to go visit your GP and get that checked out. So it's sort of those prolonged feelings of sadness, loss of energy, loss of interest in those things that we usually find interesting, changing sleep patterns, changing eating patterns, all of these kind of things that we need to look out for.
If you are experiencing any mood changes that you are concerned about, visit your GP for advice. Or if you are feeling depressed, you can phone the Depression Support Line, 0800 111 757. The Mental Health Foundation's website is mentalhealth.org.nz. Toby Dale is 3 years old and is an identical twin. Born prematurely, he suffers from Russell-Silver syndrome, a rare growth disorder. To have a chance at a normal life, Toby needs growth hormone, which will cost the family between $10,000 and $15,000 a year for 10 years. A fundraiser at Classics Museum in Hamilton is being planned for February to raise funds. Anne-Marie spoke to Tony Hamlin from Classics Museum and Toby's mum Jackie to find out what Toby's life will be like without the growth hormone.
He's going to always be struggling with growing and gaining weight, eating on a feeding tube for a lot longer. I don't know how long. I don't know exactly what it would be like without growth hormone, but I know that children like Toby don't get any higher in their growth percentiles, so he's not going to reach his target heights at all. He's going to come really, really short of those heights.
How does it affect his muscle growth and his developmental process?
He's lacking a lot of muscle mass, so he's really tiny and not very strong at all. So yeah, not having growth hormone is going to affect him hugely, like that, going to school, running around, picking up things, his health day to day. So he's always sick. Every 2 to 3 weeks he's sick and always in hospital. So with growth hormone, I think it'll help with his immune system as well and his energy levels.
It costs a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it costs a lot.
How much?
Somewhere around 10 to 15,000 a year. We haven't got an exact amount yet because it's based on weight for the dosage.
Tony, you've heard about Toby and Jackie and their family, and you want to do something to help. Why has Classics Museum thrown their support behind Toby and his family?
Well, Classics Museum was originally set up as a family attraction. We wanted to set up something that would be here for the whole family to enjoy. That was our original vision, not just to have some cars for the boys to come and enjoy, but to encourage, the community to come along. So, Toby's part of our community, and we believe that he deserves a chance at having a life as close to the best life that he can have. And obviously this growth hormone is going to make a huge difference to his life, and we are really passionate about supporting him and getting this drug for him and hope that it will make his life a better life.
You're planning a huge fundraiser early in 2015. Tell me about that.
Yes, so we're having a cocktail evening. We're really excited to be holding that at the Classics Museum and Jukebox Diner. We're still in the very early stages of planning the event, but at this stage we're hoping to have 120 people come along. We have JJ Harvey from the Edge radio station, and she will be emceeing for us, which is really exciting. And we hope to raise enough to get Toby through his first year with his drug hormone, and it should be an outstanding event. We're approaching bands at the moment. We will have live auctions, and it should be a really nice upmarket event.
If businesses want to help, what could they do?
So they can help in a number of ways. We're looking for sponsorship, perhaps to someone to sponsor the band, so that if we keep our cost to a minimum, then all of the money that's paid for on the night will go towards Toby's growth hormone. We're also looking for items for goodie bags or for silent auctions or live auctions on the night. So any small donation will be very much appreciated. Anything that anyone's willing to do, we're open for suggestions.
Jackie, what does it mean to have the support of Tony and the Classic Museum behind you?
It's overwhelming. It's fantastic. It's incredible. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
To donate to Toby's Growth Hormone Fund, go to givealittle.co.nz/cause/Fund Toby. You can also follow Toby on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/Toby's Magic. Coming up after the break, how the heat affects our little loved ones. Welcome back to Central News. We humans may be affected by the heat of the summer, but spare a thought for our furry loved ones who are just as much affected. I found out more from our local vet, Susan Murray.
Susan, is there an increase in skin conditions in the warmer months, not just for humans but for pets as well?
Definitely, yeah. We definitely see a lot more animals during the summer months at this time of the year presenting for skin conditions, generally relating to there being a lot more fleas around, so the animals are in contact with a lot more fleas, there being a lot more plants and pollens and grasses around that produce allergens, which the animals then react to.
Ear infections are apparently more common in summer. What can we be doing to kind of prevent these?
So ear infections will produce waxes or discharges from the ear, which you'll see they can range from brown to yellow to very smelly. The inside of the ear, ears get very red and inflamed, and the dogs especially, we do see cats as well, get very sore and they'll shake their heads. So if you've got animals, especially with ears that fold down over the head, looking and checking all the time, and any signs that you see or any irritability in the ears, definitely get them checked out to prevent them getting any worse.
So shaking their head's actually a sign that they've got?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. And they don't necessarily shake their heads though if they have got sore ears. So checking them as well is a good idea.
Oh, it can be very smelly. How can we avoid eczema on our pet skin?
So eczema generally means itchy skin. Keeping things under control like fleas, which cause itchiness. So having a good flea regime through the summer months is especially important. Grooming your pets so that you remove excess hair, trimming around eyes and feet so they don't get daggy and encrusted, and then washing with pet-specific shampoos. Not overly washing, but every 1 or 2 weeks to remove, again, excess hairs and dirt and things can help prevent animals becoming itchy. Some animals will have skin conditions a bit like humans, which may not be able to be kept under control by kind of those methods, and they may need other types of treatments. But those are a few things along the way that you can do to try and help your pet out.
Cats and dogs get eczema?
Yes, dogs are generally worse. We see more dogs than we see cats. We see a lot of cats with flea allergies.
So why do fleas become worse over summer?
Fleas have a life cycle. They have the adult flea, and then they have eggs and larvae and pupae. It's the flea which survives on the dog or cat. The rest of the life cycle is in the environment. And for the eggs to be able to hatch, you need the environment to be warm and moist, over about 20 degrees. So during your winter months, the only area that has a temperature like that is your house, and you generally, with your flea products or your flea bombs, you keep that area under control. During the summer months, when the temperature outside increases, your eggs can hatch anywhere. So there's flea eggs hatching everywhere, and an animal walks past and they jump on, so there's a much higher flea burden everywhere. And at the moment we're just seeing influxes of animals coming in riddled with fleas. So.
In our next story, I caught up with the Waipa Sportsperson of the Year, who is about to take on the world this year, Joelle King.
Last year, you won the bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games. How did it feel to stand up on that podium?
Yeah, I mean, in Delhi 4 years ago, I won a gold and a silver in the doubles, mixed doubles and women's doubles, and that was pretty amazing to stand up there, and I guess it's special in a different way. To win that bronze is probably the highlight of my career to date. standing up there with my mum and my husband, and a lot of supporters that had come over from New Zealand in the crowd, is something that I'll probably never forget. But hopefully one day I'll be up on that podium with a gold medal. So Gold Coast 2016 is the next Commonwealth Games. So, you know, I'll be aiming for gold there.
And it's not as far to travel, so.
Yeah, exactly. Damn jet lag.
I mean, it's quite funny because squash is one of those very few sports where you can play as a single player and as a double. What's the difference when you're kind of training and your mindset in there? It must be quite bizarre to go from one to the other.
Yeah, it's really different. I guess first and foremost, all of a sudden you're in a team situation as opposed to, you know, oh yeah, I travel on my own, compete as an individual, and now you've got to think about this other person that you're playing with. So that's the first real sort of spanner in the works it takes a while to figure out, and it's quite important to have really good relationships, and that quite often forms the combinations, you know, how people actually are with each other. Then you've got a court that's 2 metres wider. You've got the front tin, which like is a down if you hit it. The normal one is 19 inches and the doubles tin is 13. So that's 6 inches lower. So there's quite a few different, you know, it's not like just switching over 2 people in a team playing against 2 other people on a normal court. There's quite a few changes. So it does take a while to adapt. But fortunately, you know, if you're a decent enough player, you can sort of figure it out pretty quick.
It sounds almost like it's kind of 2 different sports really in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you know, we only really play it in the year of the Commonwealth Games, so that's another thing. It's not something we do all the time, and that's why I say it takes, you know, a while to adjust and switch over. But at the Commonwealth Games, you don't really have time, so we have to know that we've done all the training and stuff, and it's all in the bank. So when we get there, we're straight into it.
Because you are #1 player in New Zealand, and that's since 2010. Now, you've held that, so that's 4 years you've held that title. That's quite a long time to be able to hold a title like that. What drives you?
You know, I just want to be better every day. I know that there's still so many areas where I can improve, and I think I never ever focus on the titles or things like that. It's just about trying to improve myself every day, and I think once you stop trying to look for areas to improve, then it's time to give up. Squash is one of those sports that some days you come and you think, oh, I've got this. You know, you play the most amazing match and you think you've really hit the jackpot, and then you come back the next day and you think, what happened? So it's one of those, just trying to master it, which I don't think I'll probably never do, but you know, at least every day I keep pushing to try and be better. It's one step closer.
That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so email us news@tvcentral.co.nz or like us on our Facebook page, centralnews.tv. Let us know your views. Thanks for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.